Hello. Thank you for coming to Ecobuild. Don't go away. We're just about to tell you how I learned to ski. I went all the way to Italy and my friends Tadas and Keisha are going to tell you how they taught me to ski.
I'm Tadas Sadauskas. I'm from LD UTC. I started that college last September, so now I'm in year 12, 17 years old. It's actually really fun studying robotics and engineering in general. I study computing, further maths and physics. I think this is a pretty good addition to just my future in total, because I'm thinking of going into either civil engineering or robotics engineering, and just getting robots like these and Pepper in our college is really fun. Just to play around with it and see what it can do, see what I can do with it as well. Also, it actually inspires a lot of students to play around with the robots every day. We were offered to go on the ski trip sponsored by ICE to go to Italy, and we had to bring in the robots and actually ski with them. So most of the day we ski and then come back, and we put on the skis on the robots and we let them ski. This is us actually making the skis, because we had to make our own skis for the robots to make them ski. Some of us created the skis specifically for flatland, some of us created skis specifically for downhill. These are the skis for downhill. We have some skis over here that are for flatland. As you can see, we made as like little ridges. These were 3D printed, so were the stand for the legs. These fit the legs properly. And we put zip ties on the top so it can hold on together and can actually walk. It's really interesting actually. This clips into the snow and you can walk faster. This is the skiing motion. Yeah, and just loop that over and over and over to actually make it walk.
My name's Keisha. I'm currently in year 10 and I'm 14. I also went skiing with Tadas and the robots. And before we actually programmed the robots to ski, we made skis. So this is an example of the skis, like Tadas explains. And we've made it completely like ourselves out of the wood. We mended them to make it like the actual ski shape. And we 3D printed these parts to hold the foots. In LD UTC, I study engineering, iMedia, and Mandarin, and I think this is really important because I feel like engineering is the future, and in order to make stuff work, you need engineering, and the idea that the way you create stuff can affect everyone that you're making it for. Mandarin is also very important because China is one of the biggest growing economies in the world, and to be able to communicate with Mandarin Chinese CEOs is really important. We use this program called programming website called Choreograph, and that's how we actually program the robots. So it is basically like a programming language to be able to program the robots to ski.
So how we made the robots actually work is the robot programming language is just keyframe animation. You move the robot to the place you want it to be in the future, and you just press a button. It remembers the exact position of the motors, and then you can actually put it into the computer. You can copy that over as many times as you want. So let's say this motion is simply this motor forward, this back, and it just keeps repeating. You can loop it as many times as you want. It's pretty interesting actually. You can raised both its arms. Originally, we actually had it ski with ski poles, but the ski poles were actually not that good because not enough strength in the arms, and the grip would just let go. It was just a hassle. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It has multiple sensors everywhere as well. Yeah.
Hello. Thank you for coming.
One of the key parts of the DNA here at LDUTC is that we work with industry, and what that means is that we're preparing the kids for the real world. Okay, this is not an abstract institution. This is about concrete skills for the real world, and possibly the best example of that I can think about is that we taught the children to program robots like Now and my friend here, Pepper, and we specifically set them a task to see if they could get the Now robots to ski. But we didn't just do it in the classroom, we sent them to the Italian Alps.
I discovered that the ICE ran a ski trip each year, and this ski trip in the evenings they did some sort of educational engineering exercise. Having given us a robot to promote our school, I thought this could be an opportunity to support the ICE with this venture. The students before the ski trip split up into groups of 4 and 5, and their task was to create the skis that Neo was going to ski on. The atmosphere in the workshops when they were creating the skis and the harnesses to hold the skis onto the robots was something quite different, something quite special. You could see their enthusiasm and their interest developing and expanding.
It can hear me what I'm saying. It looks at whoever's speaking or whoever it sees using the head and mouth camera.
We connect the robot to the computer. We put the robot in a position. It will come up on the computer and we can save that as an actual position.
For the front, we've got a point that rounds off based on what the average ski would look like.
We used a 3D printer to print out the foot.
Like with other robots, where it will be designed only to ski, this robot is actually supposed to be like a human, so if it can ski, humans can see, be able to do it, right?
It's early stages in the development of the software. That's why they're getting people like us to start kind of using it so that we can improve it in the future.
So combine this really brilliant ski trip with the idea of getting robots to ski. It's quite an interesting problem. It's a unique problem. It's a problem that nobody else in the world, I don't believe, will ever have tried to tackle.
Ciao. It is much colder than London here, but I am enjoying practicing my Italian and cross-country skiing. Tune in later this week to see me and my friends attempt to ski.
The IC has a remit to promote the art and science of civil engineering to children. So we have a big educational programme. These children, even if they don't go into civil engineering, they'll go away from these trips having had fun doing some engineering with the institution of civil engineers. That sticks in their head and that sends a really, really good message.
There's a massive shortage of engineers. How do you get kids to be engineers? You get them interested in projects like this, you bring them to places like this, and you get them to do amazing things. It's fantastic.
We were looking online for like cross-country skiers, is generally how they ski. We got the engineering part down, but the programming, that took ages.
We've put so much time and effort into like programming and the actual engineering part of it, and to finally see the robot ski is a great feeling.
Oh, look at this, yo! Oh,
The engineering, the manufacturing of these skis and the bindings are superb, and they've all got different ideas of how they've done that.
I've never seen like a school that programs a robot and makes it ski. It's really interesting.
This is a school week, but I think they've learnt an awful lot. Some of them have talked about the pressure that they experience, some of them have talked about how they've learned computer programming and they've never learned computer programming before. And now, because of the pressure of having to get their robot to do something, they can program computers.
The skills that the students have come back with are not only the engineering skills, not only the chance that they've had a go at skiing, but the communication skills, their teamwork, their collaboration together makes them stronger candidates for employment when they leave our school. This ski trip was an excellent collaboration between the ICE and LDE UTC, using the latest technology in a wonderful environment where the students didn't only learn, but they had fun whilst doing it.
With the coming of AI, there's going to be something that's very important, and it's the quintessential human ability to think creatively, to innovate ourselves out of the problems that face us. The sorts of problems that are going to define the human race in the future, and they're the very stuff of what we do here at the LDE UTC. We solve problems. We use STEM subjects and all kinds of other subjects to prepare and engineer the future.
Well, Tadas and Keisha, thank you so much. How did all this start? And how did you two end up in Italy? And where do I sign?
First of all, we got offered positions to actually go to Italy to ski, and our secondary task was to program the robots. First was to have fun, second was to actually program the robots. This made a lot of us actually focus on the programming. Personally, I already knew programming, but this was just like another way of learning programming, because it's way different actually doing it on the computer and doing it on the robot. Because what might work on the computer does not always work on the robot because of the points of balance, the tipping points, etc.
And let Keisha have a go on this. What was the hardest part?
The hardest part is actually trying to find a position and how to actually make the robot move, because as Sada said, there's like a lot of things, like limited factors. So like if that robot is on balance, it stops like the whole process completely and you have to start again so that the robot is balanced.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yes, we have a question here, please. There's not much snow in Qatar. Well, at least not on the outside.
That's right, Professor, and that's why my question is not going to be related to snow, but something else. So I'd like to know, how long did it take you from the inception of the idea, till you delivered it, program-wise? And what's the next idea as budding engineers, whether civil or robotics? What would you look into? So not snow, hopefully, this time. Thank you.
Yep. So how we came up with the idea is just we looked at normal skiers and how they make the skiing motion, literally study how they make every movement, how they change their balance from leg to leg, and try to transfer it into the robot. Also, a big difference is if you're actually programming it on the land and on the skis, it's way different because of the different balance points, the skis overlapping, etc. There's a lot more factors than just simply. Second part, which was the next step. I'm thinking of going towards better and more advanced robots, also AI, obviously. Everyone is shooting towards AI right now. And I think that's the next best step in humankind, just inventing the best AI to allow people to live better, easier. Yeah.
Personally, I think it should be water skiing. But there you are. Right, I think we really ought to bring this to an end. Tantalizing view of the future. I would, just before I finish, just note that the UTC has a stand within our networking space throughout the 3 days at Ecobuild. Please do visit it and ask as many questions as they can take, and a few more. Please do remember to get your free drink from the Kendall Coffee House just round the side. And with that, I'd like, please, let's show our appreciation for our young guests.